Gutting day for me if you're a Scotland fan. Really hard to watch, losing like that, losing the way that we did. Um, really puts us up against getting through to the next stage now. Um, don't think we played too badly. It was just a case of where we got found out was we just didn't take the chances when they came. I mean, if you look at all the stats, we had more shots on goal than them. We had more possession than them. Probably had more territory as well, but we just didn't have the quality at the top end of the pitch, really, was the thing that done us. And obviously, you can't legislate for that second goal. Highly so it was all a really hard blow. We conceded a goal late on at the end of the first half, which was a blow in itself. Again, that was from a position where, like I said in my blog last night, what we had to do was not allow players room on the edge of our box like we've done in the past, and that's exactly how the goal came about. We didn't close down the attack down the wing quick enough. Cross came over and they scored from it. The second goal, a lot of people were having a go at Jack Hendry for having a shot, but I don't see that at all. I mean, we were putting a bit of pressure on them just at the start of the second half. And I'm not sure about Tierney. Clark says he'll hopefully be fit, but I have to wait and see about Tierney. But we had a spell at the start of the second half. Had a bit of, I think Hendry hit the bar with a shot. We had some more pressure, and Hendry had the ball again outside the area. And some people having a go at him for shooting and not passing, just because it deflected to our Czech Republic player, and that's how the goal came about. But the person more to blame for the goal was Marshall, who was way too far off his line, really, basically, which was pretty sad, really, because Marshall's built up a good sort of reputation, a good, what should I say, sort of like rapport with the fans, because it was his save that got us through to the finals and all of that, and the penalty shootout. But it was certainly, I would say, his fault, the goal, not Jack Hendry's. I mean, we were trying to press for a goal. I mean, I'm all for players having a shot. You know what I mean? He wasn't to know it was going to deflect to right to another player's feet. It was just a fact that we just didn't take the chances when they came. I mean, Dykes had a great chance. I think it might have been 2-0 at that point. He had a great chance to score. Robertson as well, although obviously you can't really blame him too much because he's not a striker, but the shot that the goalie tipped over the bar. Also the shot for Armstrong that just deflected over the bar. It's just things weren't going to go our way. You know, it was one of those sort of days really where things weren't going our ways. Against England, obviously, we'll be up against it. Not to say that we don't have a chance, really, because anything can happen in football. Last game against Croatia is where we're definitely going to need to win in that game, I think. And that might still not be enough if we get beat on on Friday, next Friday. I mean, but not to say that we can't. I mean, as soon as I heard as soon as the team news came out that Tierney was out, that was a really massive blow for Scotland, for us, because he's him linking up with Robertson. That's where a lot of our attacks runs through that side of the pitch. So losing Tierney and having to replace him with Cooper. Cooper's not a good defender, but he's not an attacking. As he doesn't offer you the attacking thrust that Tierney does. So losing Tierney was a big blow for us. I mean, he's one of the sort of like handful of real like international class players that we've got on our side, along with Robertson, maybe McTominay, and maybe McGinn and Tierney. So losing Tierney, I think, really cost us pretty badly. Just he. So it was really quite a bad one to take, losing Tierney, because it was out of the blue, really. It wasn't any news that he was going to be out or anything. Must have kept it hushed up and all of that. But bad one to take, losing Tierney. And that really did sort of like knock us a bit out of tax, if you see what I mean. But as I said, we had more shots on goal than them. But the fact that they had more quality in the attacking, like with Czech, the bloke that scored the 2 goals, was really the difference between us getting a result and not getting a result. I did say on my blog last night as well that we had to be more clinical in front of goal. That's been our downfall of us, really. If our game's built around keeping it tight, so if we're going to be conceding goals, there's a good chance we ain't going to get anything from the game, because we're not really a team that scores a lot of goals. Our side is built around keeping it tight at the back and scoring the odd goal here or there, because we're not a prolific goal scoring team at the moment. I think obviously there'll be changes for Friday night now. I think Tierney will definitely play if he's fit. Obviously, I'd prefer to see Gilmore playing in the midfield, and perhaps seeing Patterson playing at right back or right wing back and place the O'Donnell. He's more attacking. He gives us more thrust going forward. Maybe a little bit. I'm not so confident about his defensive abilities, but if he gives us more than attack, then that's good as well. The more attack options we've got on the pitch, the better, really, for me. I mean, if we lose, we may as well go down fighting rather than just trying to park the bus like we might do. But it was a really, I don't think we deserve to lose 2-0. No way did we deserve to lose 2-0 on the stats and all of that. Yeah, it is, but Adams has been sort of like a good link-up play. Yeah, the keeper their keeper made some good saves as well. So it was really tough one to take. It was one of those games when you're watching it and you see all those chances like going begging and narrow misses, hitting the bar, the goalkeeper pulling off a great save. You then begin to, especially when the shot from Armstrong was deflected and it just went over the bar, that's when you start to think it's not going to be your day. Beforehand, I would have said been confident of getting a win, but then as soon as Tierney was out, when I was watching it on the TV, and they were speaking to Paul Lambert, I think it was, and he said it's important not to lose. A goal would be a good result. I then started to take that mindset as well at the time with Tierney being out, but it's a tough one to take, no doubt about that. Just got to try and take the best bits out of it and reorganise the side a bit. Different formation, different players, and hopefully it will come right against England, or if not against Croatia, obviously. Croatia didn't look all that great against England. I'm just trying to work out all the connotations of the results and all of that as well for us going forward, about what would be the best from us from here, like for before we play England. I think earlier on the day is the Croatia game against Czech Republic. A draw might be the best result for us there, I think, because it leaves Croatia. Yeah, that's it as well. And he's an experienced keeper, and it's not something that he does. Oh, I've never seen him sort of like do that before, really. So I'll definitely say there's a lot of people on our forum that I go on who are all pointing their finger at Henry for having a shot. I mean, how's he to know a shot's going to deflect to a player into a player's path to set up a quick break? You know what I mean? You're not to know that, are you? I mean, if you, as we were then, we were starting to put a bit of pressure on, and we were sort of like having a fair few shots. So he was just sort of like thinking, oh, I'm going to have a pop here. He did just score his first goal for Scotland the other night against Luxembourg in a friendly, and then he had hit the bar earlier. So you can't blame him for fancying his chances. So I certainly wouldn't blame him. I mean, because he's a lot more inexperienced anyway. I think it was his seventh cap the night today, Henry. Whereas Marshall's experienced, I think it was his 45th cap, so he should know better, basically. But can't take anything away from the bloke that scored the goal. Just great, and seeing that opportunity and the execution of it was absolutely brilliant. You can't, and that's something that we missed, was that sort of striker, if you know what I mean, that was up there that could do that sort of thing. But just one of those things, really. But going back to like trying to work out what the connotations for later on in the group might be, trying to work out whether what might be best for the third best team in the group. So like whether it's obviously losing by 2 goals doesn't help us at all. That's a bad one. So one to take straight away because it doesn't help our goal difference going forward. I wouldn't rule us out getting a win against Croatia though, because I didn't think Croatia were all that great at all. Really, they looked a little bit toothless in attack, like Shearer said. I was thinking exactly the same when I was watching them. Really, they've definitely fallen off a lot from the World Cup of Croatia. So I certainly wouldn't sort of like be too downhearted about sort of like needing the win against Croatia in the last game. But the England game's the big worry. I mean, if we go in there and take a Canaan or anything like that, it'll just probably make that Croatia game all the more impossible to win, really. And even if we did win, it probably wouldn't be enough anyway, because our goal difference would be so bad. Not unless we had a big win against Croatia, that is. But we just have to wait and see how it goes, basically. Depends on a lot of things, really. I mean, we really need Tierney back for the England game. That's a given, really, because he is a real class player that we've got an international class, even go still stopping short of calling them world class, because I'm sure he could move on from Arsenal to a more successful, bigger club as well and slot right into their side. Tierney's a truly class player, and that's been a lot of what have got us where we are, as with the how Clark's managed to fit 2 left, mainly known as left backs, into the side, and Robertson playing as a left wing back, and Tierney on the left side of 3-man defence, if you see what I mean. So we just have to, I'll just have to wait and see how it goes against England, really, and hope it's better, sort of like a more attacking mix of a team. Yeah, that's how I saw it when I was watching that game yesterday. I just thought that Croatia started off really slowly and thought, we'll take a draw here. They were happy passing it about at a really slow pace, like you said. And then when England scored, when you're playing at a slow pace like that, you can't really raise your game anyway. But to be honest, I don't think really Croatia even looked like scoring at any real point. I totally agree with what Shearer was saying there. When I was watching that game, to me, it just didn't look like Croatia were going to score. If they had they played for another hour, they wouldn't have scored. They just looked so sort of like toothless. I think England done a good job on Modric closing down that threat. So that's something that England, Scotland will need to look to do when they come up. We can play against them. But the main thing is, we going into the England game is that we put in our sort of like our very good display don't get thrashed. Maybe pick up a point, maybe 3 points, and if we want to dream, and hopefully put us back on a bit of a more of a even keel for the Croatia game. If we get a result against England, any sort of result, even a draw, it would be a real boost, because then I think a win against Croatia would definitely see us in with a minimum chance of third best third place team, if you see what I mean. But just have to wait and see. We need to find goals from somewhere, though. That's a main worrying thing. The Czechs done a good job on closing down the McGinn threat, because McGinn scores a lot of goals for us from midfield. He's our top scorer, basically. That's where a lot of our goals has come of late. I think the reason why Adams didn't start today, going back to you, Martin, what you're saying there, Dykes seems to play better with a smaller, nippier striker alongside him. Whether it's Ryan Christie, or Ryan Fraser, he scored a couple of goals for Scotland, Dykes, but he's also, I think he's set up 2 or 3 goals for Christie and Fraser with his layoffs or knockdowns of things like that. So he tends to sort of like play better, I think, and that's why I think, and as well, I think obviously Clark was thinking what I was thinking as well. You're best maybe having Adams on the bench to bring him on if things aren't going well, which was the case. Is what he done basically. So I can see the reason for doing that. I mean, Adams might very well start against England now, I would have thought. The substitutes that we made were pretty good. I thought Forrest done really well when he came on. He tends to get a lot of stick for the Scotland fans, does Forrest, but he had one really good run into the area, took on a player, beat him, cut inside another player and had his shot blocked. Looked like it was goal bound and just blocked away from the corner. So Forrest done really well when he came on, give us a bit of drive down the right side, if you see what I mean. O'Donnell's place might be in jeopardy for Friday night. He comes into it for a lot of stick. I think a lot of it's unfair towards him, to be honest. But O'Donnell might you might find that O'Donnell's dropped in place of maybe Craig Forrest playing as right wing back, or failing that, he might even start with Patterson, although Patterson's only had 1 cap. He's very inexperienced. Patterson's very much like another old Rangers player for a few years back, Alan Hutton, if anyone remembers them, or Scotland fans here will remember them, obviously, for a few years back. He was really good on the attack, really pacey, but maybe his defensive skills were a bit dubious. Patterson reminds me a bit like that, but Patterson's still only young. He's still only learning the game, so it might be maybe a shade too early to drop him into such a massive game. But still trying to remain positive. Obviously, it's great even just being there, really, basically being able to sort of look forward to these sorts of games. Otherwise, today, I think it would have been Czech Republic versus Serbia. I'd probably been out shopping at Co-op or something like that rather than watching that, if you see what I mean. But yeah, he done really well for Scotland in terms of the games that he had and all of that. So he had a really good games for Scotland. Then fell off the radar, fell right away. But he had a good career for Scotland. Alan Hutton did, but he's one of those players that never actually got through to any major tournaments, if you know what I mean. But Patterson's much in the same vein. He reminds me very much of him. Burst on the scene, he's got a lot of pace, can take players on. Maybe not so great in the defensive department, if you see what I mean. So it's a choice that Clark's going to have to think about. Obviously, they have to try and get the players' heads back up for the game against England. Hopefully, we'll be able to pull off something against England. Main thing is we can't go shipping. If we have to get beat, we can't get beaten by big score lines. Otherwise, even a win against Croatia, I don't think it's going to get us through then. Because I'm trying to work out the connotations about what happens with and the Croatia Czech Republic game. Seeing the two game teams like Czech Republic today against us and Croatia against England, sorry, then I would say that the Czech Republic have got a good chance of winning that game, which would put them on 6 points. They put them out of the reach of us. Conceivable it could end up a draw. Another interesting thing that will be on that game, I think Croatia had about 3 players booked or something in that game against England, so they can't afford to be going into gung-ho really, because otherwise they could pick up some suspensions for the game against us. So you'll need to watch out for that. We were all right the day. We didn't pick up any bookings. I don't think England did either, did they? But yeah, it's disappointing because there was a lot of hope going into the game, basically, but it was one of those games where things just didn't go away. Once we conceded that first goal, I think the first goal was always going to be crucial because, like I say, we don't tend to score a lot of goals. Just kind of like the last time we scored a lot of goals was obviously against the Faroe Islands. Beat them 4-0 in the World Cup qualifier recently. But aside from that, it's normally 1-0 wins that we do. Don't tend to win by a lot of goals. So that's why it's important we don't let in goals. But today we did. And that really put us in the back foot. Yeah, that's what done us. Thing is with the Czechs, the Czechs might very well be in the mindset that might work against the Czechs against Croatia. They might have a mindset of a draw doing them, and they might set out for a draw against Croatia, knowing that they've already got 3 points in the bag. A draw would virtually take them through, I think, because they would be banking on England beating Scotland, so they would think that's Scotland out of the equation, and it would be between Czech Republic and England to who actually wins the group then, you know what I mean? So it depends on how the Czechs go about that game myself. I think obviously the Croatia will improve, obviously, from that game. From Scotland's point of view, I'm trying to work out what would be the best result for Scotland. Doesn't really matter either way, really, because the Czechs, if the Czechs win, then they're guaranteed to have qualified. And our game against Croatia will definitely be just for who finishes third. So this is going on the premise of Scotland getting beaten on the worst scenario. Scotland loses against England. But if Croatia draw, it still leaves us still leaves us some of a chance of getting into third place, obviously, because Croatia would only have 1 point after 2 games, and Czech Republic would have 4 then. So it's difficult to say what would be the best result for Scotland, really. Perhaps even a Croatia win might be a good result. But us losing by 2 goals, whereas Croatia only lost by 1 goal, that's a bad sign straight away for me. But yeah, as you say, Neil, the goal that we lost just before half time, which we've got habits of doing as well, losing just before half time. We concede a lot. We seem to just before then. It's a bad thing. And that was a blow straight away. We had got in at half time at 0-0, would have been all right. We could have reset ourselves, reorganised, and gone again for the second half. But taking a goal, conceding a goal like that is really a sore one to take. But go again against England on Friday night. But I do think there will be changes. It won't be the sort of side that we had out today. If it was me, I would really throw in a little bit of a. Well, I think even if Scotland had got one goal back, even when it was 2-0, I would have fancied them to get another one, if you see what I mean, because they did. They were creating really good chances. Czechs would have got really nervy at that point as well. Or if we had have equalised when it was 1-1, I would have fancied us to go on to win 2-1, if you see what I mean. We tend to do well when our tails are up and our confidence is up. That makes us attack even better, if you see what I mean. That helped us against Austria and the World Cup qualifier against Austria. I think it's something like 2,500 or something like that. Scotland fans, I think it's 2,500. It might be, as far as I know. But I don't know how the validity of things, because I was looking at the according to the BBC website, it says the attendance was 9,600 or something. Can't see that it would be that, because it was 12,500 that was supposed to be there. So I can't see how 3,000 people didn't get into the game. You see what I mean? It looked to be more than the 9,000 that it was saying on the BBC website. But for me, the side that I would like to see starting now on Friday, I would go throw a bit of a curveball in there and really go all out with our new look and sort of like attacking side. I'll probably play across the back if Tierney's fit. Well, I do know that there's on the forum that I go on, I know that there's one or two Scotland fans that got tickets in the England end as well, so might be a little bit more than that if there's more than just those people that have done that. But team I'd like to see us start out with is against England. I'd like to see us start with. I would probably stick to Gordon in goals and got Marshall after his mistake today. Defence I would be the one that set up against I think it was the defence that started against the Netherlands recently, which was Hendry, Cooper and Tierney. There's a backline defence. Wing backs I would have obviously Robertson on the left, and I would stick Patterson in as right wing back. Bit of pace there, bit of more of attacking thrust than O'Donnell offers, although O'Donnell's better probably in the defensive department. And then midfield I would go for McGinn, Gilmore. I may even be tempted to chop McTominay and put Armstrong in to be ultra controversial, because I don't think McTominay had a great game today, to be fair. And up top I would play Adams, maybe Dykes. Oh yeah. England will have changes as well. Obviously, I think they're going to sort of like rotate the teams, their selections around, rest some players and whatnot. Especially since it was so hot on the other day for that game against Croatia. But with us. As I say, that's the side that I would like to see start, which is like Gordon, Tierney, Cooper, Hendry, Robertson, Patterson, McGinn, Gilmore, maybe Armstrong in place of McTominay, Adams and maybe Dykes, or Adams and maybe Christie. I don't know, one of those two. I wouldn't have really thought so. I mean, we've had World Cup games like when we just recently, obviously the fixtures, and we've had like triple headers of World Cup games, and there's only 3 days between the games, if you know what I mean. So I don't think having one less day to prepare will really make any difference physically, if that's what you mean. Like, because as I say, the World Cup qualifiers, you only have, I think it's 3 days, I think, between those games. And when we've had triple headers, if I remember rightly, I think it's 3 days, isn't it? 3 or 4 days, but they do it all right for the World Cup qualifiers. There's certainly no more than 4 day gaps. It might only be a 3 day gap and between the World Cup qualifiers when we've had triple headers recently because of the COVID and all that. So I wouldn't have thought it would really make too much of a difference. On that sense, it's probably better that it's getting played at night as well, because it'll be cooler. Like it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, isn't it? So probably better for us. It gives us nearly all of the day on Friday to recover even more if there's any worry about that at all. But I shouldn't think it should really matter at all, really. But for that reason, I think that is where you'll see, maybe again, you might see Clark want to change it a bit to bring some fresh legs in. He's not frightened of doing that. He done that when the friendlies, the Luxembourg and Holland game, he switched the team around it quite a bit, made changes. So probably do the same again. At least one good thing out of it is we didn't seem to pick up any injuries today, thank God, which is a good thing. Not as far as I know, anyway. There was no knocks or anyone limping off and injury substitution. So I think it'll all just be the fresh legs or tactical changes to the side. Right, I'm going to log off now. I hope you enjoyed this blog anyway. I'll be back on probably with another blog maybe Thursday night on the eve of the England game. Give my final thoughts on that before the game on the Friday. So I hope you've all enjoyed this little blog, and I'll sign off now. There's a game coming on again. I'm going to watch the Spain-Sweden game. Might try and forget the result today, and I'll hopefully you'll pop in and chat again on Thursday. Okay, we'll say good night to everyone.